Each week we check out a new gun museum. We call it the Firearm Museum Tour. A big part of our Gun Show Loophole Tour is checking out the firearms museums around the country, and we know that they're all interested in getting more visitors and more awareness. So we're going to help by featuring a new museum each week. And this week, let's take a look at the Boot Hill Museum in Dodge City, Kansas. So we visited this one for the first time in 2017 after the Gun Rights Policy Conference in Dallas. Coming back from the policy conference, we decided to head north up to Dragon Man's in Colorado. So the route between Dallas and Colorado Springs, at least the route we took us through Dodge City, Kansas, and it was an excuse to be able to check out the Boot Hill Museum. So this is a pretty cool museum, and this video will act as a bit of a historical reference because the museum is now under construction. They're building a new museum there at the location. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it as we're going back and forth between clips and the cartooning I'm doing in the background there. But in that large grass area in front of all the storefronts, they're actually building a much larger building. So that'll be the new museum from what I understand. The last time we went by, last year in 2019, it was at night, so I wasn't able to get really good pictures, but it was also under construction, so it was closed for the remodeling. So we'll be interested in checking it out when it's reopened. And it's also a bit of a difficult museum to get to unless you're driving through Kansas. It's not near any large airports or anything. So I'm glad we were able to check this one out more than once now. For us, it's perfect. So if when we go to either Tulsa or Oklahoma City, or in this case Dallas, and then head to Colorado Springs to check out the Dragon Man Museum, this one is on the way. And it's a pretty interesting drive, I guess, if you want to see some of the countryside of the Midwest there, or I guess it's still the Midwest, the part of the country. But the museum is pretty nice. It's the big building here, the hotel, is the gift shop and the bathrooms and that kind of thing. And you go through, you watch a movie in that building about Dodge City, and then you head back to the Boot Hill Cemetery as the first visit, and then you head down into those strip of storefronts there, and that's really the majority of the museum. Now they're all connected in the background. It's really one big building with those facades out front, and if you choose to, you could walk out front and see them from the front, but you can also just stay inside and walk kind of between the buildings from the inside. It's going to take you through a saloon and like a drugstore. You go see a really interesting portion of the museum is the Firearms Exhibit, and it's a good percentage. It's actually the largest focus really of the museum now that I think about it. There's quite a few guns there. They look at it from different angles, and they have all kinds of specimens and examples, lots of things side by side. It's a pretty decent firearms museum. After that, you go through and you see what a gun shop would have looked like in Dodge City. Then you see you've already seen the saloon. You see a jail cell. They've got some other stores and services, and you get to see all kinds of artifacts from the era. Now there's also a train museum there and a couple of other things that I didn't check out, but really looking forward to seeing how it expands and the development of the museum. This is two of them now that since I visited they've expanded and changed, so an excuse to go back and check out these museums. Now this series is an attempt to talk about these museums, an excuse to post links to the museums and get conversations going about them. So we open up Adobe Illustrator as the software that we're using, and we take one of the photographs that we had from our visit in 2017, and we go live, and we use either the guntube.org chamber to go live, or we use the El Pato software to go live. And then we have a conversation. As we're drawing this, we share the screen and we invite people in from our Patreons or people that join in on these live conversations, and we chat about guns. And during that conversation, we're drawing the cartoons. It's pretty basic. We just open up the picture, start to draw lines down on one layer, and then add a layer in between with some color. So very much like creating a coloring book. Once it's all colored in, we go through and select the colors we want from the main photograph, and we end up with a cartoonized or a simplified version that gives us some consistent artwork for our projects. We'll use this artwork on our websites. We archive our trips, we archive the shops that we visit and the museums that we explore on our websites. We use those websites as reference for videos and posts on different social media platforms. And then we have our newsletter, and now we're writing some books based on history of firearms, history of Second Amendment issues, and we include these cartoons in all of those pieces of content for consistency and, well, mainly so that we have consistent artwork for the overall effect. So with that, we hope to inspire people that it's not that difficult to create some things like this to get a desired effect, and we offer the live sessions as workshops. We've been doing that for a few years to share the tools and techniques to bring more people into the fold. It's an opportunity to talk about the museums or the firearms there or the history or the times during those live conversations. Once the live chat is over, once we've drawn the cartoons, we'll end the video on whatever platform, on guntube.org or wherever, and then when it ends, it usually renders into a video, so that live stream becomes a regular video, and then we download that video and we put it on our computer here. We take that video and we speed it up, often almost 1,000 times faster than it originally took. So this probably took a few hours, a couple of hours worth of drawing. We drew the hotel and then we drew the storefronts, and you could see that we went off on tangents and had conversations along the way. So it wasn't a very quick process. It was really just a mosey and a ramble, a way to spend some time during the quarantine. And then we take those images and we export them as the either transparent PNGs or the JPEGs. And again, it's an opportunity to talk about the software, talk about the techniques, and talk about whatever branches off from these conversations. We appreciate the people that take the time to join us during the live conversations. Of course, the people that watch these sped up versions, these abbreviated versions as well. These are all excuses to link to the museum and encourage people to participate in the great firearms museums we've got out there. Thanks to our patrons, and thanks to you for watching. Until next time.
The guys and gals at gunwebsite.com encourage you to take a CCW course every year, practice at least once a month, and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.